All right, we're live. Everybody in Majacraft land has a cold today by the sounds of it. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Susie and we've got Glynis Poe today, and we're going to be talking about the wonderful Majacraft rose wheel. So hopefully we've got some good questions to answer, and Glynis is going to tell us a bit about the background of this lovely wheel. And I'm going to be checking to see who's along. Hi, Evanita. I was hoping you'd be there. And yeah, let's get started. We'll probably have a slightly shorter event today. Last time we had a sort of general Majacraft Wheels 101. But today we're really focusing down on the rose and what makes it such a special wheel. So tell us a bit about it, Glynis. How long have you been making the rose for?
We started making the rose, I think it was 1997, so 20 years old.
Ah,
wow,
an anniversary.
Amazing. Yes, yeah, need a party. We started in 1997, and I seem to feel that we called it the rose. Princess Diana was around, and I think it was she had some input. Well, she had some inspiration for calling it the rose. And the first time we brought it out, we went to the Kaitaia Creative Fibre Festival. And yeah, it's been around ever since. It's had a few changes. We started off with the different design on the handle, and we've since done refinements with the pedal shape and the head shape and the flyer arms and the shape of the flyer, things like that. But substantially, it's still exactly the same as when we started.
It's quite compared to other wheels that you have, it's quite a traditional wheel with the spokes. It's very elegant, isn't it? And it's beautiful to spin on. I mean, it's so smooth, really, really easy to treadle, and it just glides along.
Well, people did want a traditional looking wheel, and obviously the spokes are the thing which invokes that idea. So it is based on the Susie though, so the drive wheel perhaps is the main difference in it. I know we've got some cosmetic things with the look of it and extra bits and pieces, but it was an attempt to make it look like a traditional wheel while retaining all the really good characteristics of the Susie.
Yeah, because it really is very elegant, and it does look quite refined and very pretty. And I know people that have their rose usually don't want to part with it as well. They tend to, it's hard to find them secondhand, put it that way, because people tend to hang on to them. And they're really sort of an heirloom looking wheel as well, aren't they? The kind of wheel that's going to last, a generation or two.
Yes, well, that's what we really hope. I've been lucky enough, of course, to try various wheels, and currently I am using a rose. And I'm also lucky enough, it's one of the ones that had the Maori designs on it. So it's a very, very nice wheel to spin on.
Yeah, so you've done some limited editions too, haven't you, of the wheel?
We have, yes. The Maori design, I think, was the first of the limited editions, and Andy was keen to retain one so that he could remember what it was like. And then when I was looking for a wheel to have over here, I just thought, that's sitting there, that's mine. So I've got it over here currently. And
I'll just see if I can be fancy and see if I can screen share my photo of it. Oh, here we go. Let's see how fancy I can get with my video. Let's see. Okay.
Wow.
So there we go. That's the image.
Yes.
You sent me that this morning. This is with the design on it, which is just absolutely stunning. Yes. I love that one. I think that how you've got it down over the treadles as well. I don't know if everyone can see that in the screen share.
Yes, it's a little bit on the left-hand treadle too.
Yeah, it really is pretty. And here it is strapped into the car, like
have rose will travel.
Yeah, and this is what we all do with the wheels, really, isn't it? We talked about that last time, how it, we strap them in like a child into the car. But it does travel well, doesn't it? The Rose.
Yes.
I mean, it's so clever how you've got the handle folding down, and then there's the handle to pick it up from right there. So really nice design. I like that. Very convenient. Yeah. So what kind of spinning is the Rose for? When people are looking at the wheels and they're wondering what to choose, what do they? What makes someone choose a Rose over one of the other wheels? What's the best thing?
The Rose has a lot of versatility. The ratios go, I think, from about 4-1 on the largest wheel to about 19.5 or 20-1 on the fastest groove on the fast wheel, because it comes with 2 wheels and 2 flyers. And I remember one of our dealers saying, well, it's the ultimate wheel. It's got everything, which is about right. So it'll do anything, really.
Yeah.
But it's very good for fine spinning. And
well, it has scotch
the
tension
faster
on it, doesn't it?
speeds. Yes, it does. And the scotch tension, I don't know if you know, it's on a flyer lead wheel you have scotch tension, and the bobbin is braked so that you get a different speed between the bobbin and the flyer, and that's what allows the yarn to wind on. And it's very simple to use, but you have to adjust it as your bobbin fills, and it just takes very tiny adjustments, but it's really simple. So if you're spinning a lace weight yarn, you need a very loose tension so that the yarn is not pulled on too quickly. It's got plenty of time to build up the twist. And if you're doing a bulky yarn, then you would use a stronger tension.
Yeah, and I think the scotch tension is particularly good for spinning very fine, because it gives you that little delicate feel to it that you don't always get with the Irish tension, which tends to be a lot stronger in the take up. So I think scotch tension is great for fine spinning.
Well, the Irish tension is probably much easier. If you're going to use it, it's better on a bulky yarn than on a lace yarn.
Yeah.
I find it just rattles off with me, so it's very strong.
Yeah. And I think it's not as delicate in the adjustment possibilities. Plus, you can also play around with different springs too, I guess, too, if you're really going to get technical about your fine spinning. Some people might want to try different weight springs on the tension.
Well, yes, you can. We started off with a really light spring. It was really light. It's sort of similar to what you have in a biro. And our dealers said the trouble is the kids come into the store and they turn the handle and they break the spring. So they wanted a heavier spring, which we've been using for a long time, and we've felt it's been quite heavy enough. And recently we've changed the spring because we had to have 2. One so that it would fit onto the spring pin and fit snugly, but the other one had to fit onto a knob for a gem or a pioneer. So we have now managed to get some springs made which have one small end and one big end, and they're actually a lighter spring as well. But we do still have the original very, very light springs if you are doing a lot of lace spinning, but they're very light.
And the pulleys that come with the Rose, you have the very small one that's great for lace as well as a larger one?
We've got we have the ones that come with it standard is a fairly large one, and it's over there, Susie.
It's over there. We had a few technical difficulties with the second camera today.
Yes, we did. It's a biggish one, about like that. And then it comes with basically a Susie wheel, which is this one.
Okay.
And
is that the one?
That's the one that goes up to about 19.5, 20 to 1
Okay.
When it's on this groove and on the fastest groove on the drive wheel. But it will also fit the fast wheel, which is this one.
Okay.
And I can't tell you just offhand, which was a bit silly of me, what speed that goes up to, but it is pretty fast. I think about 30 to 1.
Yeah, so it's a good ratio.
So that's very good. That comes with the lace kit.
Right. And which flyers come with it, with the rose stem?
It has a Delta flyer, the good old Delta flyer, which is so easy to thread and just
really versatile.
Great, and also a round orifice flyer. I've got here, this is a baby flyer, but it has this orifice in the second flyer for the rose as standard. And these are great. They've got a ceramic inset, and this makes the flow for the yarn, especially if you're doing a fine yarn, makes it very easy to flow, and no captures and things. It's also, if you're spinning a lot of dirty or greasy, well, then the ceramic won't cut. But if you use dirty and greasy wool, it'll cut into these metal parts normally. So so the ceramic is very good.
Some people only like to spin in the grease.
I know, but it's
it can be pretty hard on the equipment.
It is, yes. You'll have seen on some wheels I used to have an old wheel, and I used to spin gorse and poos and everything because I knew no better. And where it runs across the wood, it wears a big, deep, dirty groove full of grease and horrible.
Yeah.
So, yes.
None of that with the rose. I think because the rose is such a beautiful wheel, people like to keep them good as well.
Well, why not?
What can you do with the rose in terms of maintenance? Because I know it's like you use bearings. It doesn't need oiling. How do you look after the wood and treat the rose to keep it looking really good?
Well, I think it's mainly a case of keeping it clean and trying not to let it get too dry. Because wood just doesn't like drying out a lot. But we are fortunate, there's some people over in Hamilton who've got an organic lavender farm, and they've got bees, and they make us a very nice lavender wax, which is nice and nourishing for the wood.
It smells so beautiful, that one. Really does.
Yes.
I love getting stuff from you guys because I open up the box and it just wafts out with this beautiful lavender scent. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's nice, and all organic, as I say. So they make that specially for us, and but any good quality polish or wax will look after it. One thing you can do, and I've done it myself, is I remember Janet Day from My Spin On Things in Australia. She had a wheel one time with some socks on the pedals, and all she'd done was she'd gone down to like the $2 shop and bought some socks, chopped a hole in the end to put the joiner through, and then fed it on, and these socks were actually really quite good as covers. But you can also make felted covers or sheepskin covers, things like that, if you're concerned about your pedals.
I've seen the sheepskin covers too, and it looks quite cozy on a cold winter's day, actually. Apart from the wheel,
I try
not
not
nice
to wear
for
shoes. Yeah, I like to try and keep them. If you're not hitting them hard, they're fine.
Yeah.
But if you've got,
sorry, Glenys, I just saw a question come up. Someone asking about will there be a flyer with a pigtail rather than a delta for the rose? Just as an FYI, I can actually answer that question.
Oh, great.
All those flyers are interchangeable, so you can get the Aura flyer and it will work with your rose, which means you can also use the jumbo bobbins with it as well. So it's interchangeable. So if you're specifically after that Aura pigtail flyer, you can get that for the rose and use it. And it just adds another variability, I guess, to what you can spin, because it's a bypassable orifice, and and it will fit, definitely will fit. And I've seen quite a lot of people actually, because I I've been teaching, the art yarn workshops. So I've seen a lot of people coming into my workshops with their rows with the jumbo flyer, the Royal Flyer and the jumbo bobbins on it, ready to go for big chunky bats as well. So quite nice to see that. So it's super versatile. And,
well, of course,
it works very well for that kind of spinning too, actually.
You can use the larger flyers on the smaller bobbins, but the smaller flyers, like this one, which is for a lace bobbin, it's too narrow for a standard bobbin or a jumbo bobbin. So
yeah,
that is one little thing. It's got a bit less drag in the wind.
Yeah. And I like to actually match up the flyer, the size of the flyer with the bobbin to it. Just it looks nice.
Yes.
It all fits well. You've got the big bobbin and the big flyer, and it's very nice. Now, speaking of big bobbins and big flyers, the overdrive, I've also seen a number of people using now the overdrive on the rows as well, which adds huge amount of capacity. So if you're production spinning, you can drop the entire overdrive head onto the rows, and it works perfectly well. It basically turns it into an aura, really, doesn't it, to be able to do that?
Yes, it does. The only thing you have to watch is, more particularly on the older roses, we hadn't even dreamt of an overdrive at that stage. It wasn't a twinkle in its dad's eye or anything. And so we were cutting the grooves in the drive wheel just for a standard setup. Once you use the overdrive, you really need that inner groove reasonably deep to hold the fabric belt in, and so we've been turning the drive wheels more or less since we started the overdrive to have that deeper groove in the first one. So it can be if you've got an older drive wheel, we can re-groove it, but that'll be the only thing that could possibly give you a bit of problem. It shouldn't do, but it might. So it's
one of those things that perhaps you have to try it to find out, really.
Pretty much, yes.
Mm-hmm. But all the newer roses, it's not really an issue at all, is it? It's just
no. If you've got the 1997 one.
There must be a few of those around still. I don't know if they.
Yes, there are. Yes.
It must be quite nice to hear from people that have had like their wheel for 20 years and they come and say, "Oh, I've still got my wheel." Does that happen very often?
It is. Yes, it is. It's lovely. Yeah.
Nice to know that they go so well and that they keep going. I've seen people also at various events around New Zealand here where they come in with a very obviously old Majacraft wheel, and it's like, I've had this for a really long time and it still feels like new. It's amazing. I mean, all they do is they change their drive bands every once in a while.
Yeah.
So really, really long lasting. So what else was on our agenda for the rows? What else do people want to know about?
Well, you've got head adjustments is something which you thought might need some discussion.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I might have been able to have shown you, but because we've had these camera issues today, I'm going to have to hope you've got your wheel and you can understand what I'm talking about.
Can Andy lift it up and bring the wheel around to where you are there?
I don't know. He might be able to if he's listening. The head can be adjusted up or down, and the best place for it is usually a finger width below the spacer. So I just pull it up, and if you've got your finger beneath it, that's about the right spot normally. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're tall and you want a higher orifice, then you can raise the head right up to the top, and you can also tilt the head so that it goes up even just a little bit further. If you're short, Susie, and you want a lower orifice.
Yeah, because I never have trouble with having, I never need to hire.
You're not like this.
No.
You can drop it down in the slot, but you probably need to shorten the belt if you're going to do that, because the belt does need to have tension on it. The other thing you can do is you can change the head over for right or left-handed spinning, and all you have to do is just undo the the JCB bolt or the little dome nut, whatever sort of top you've got, depending on the age of your wheel. Take the head out, turn it upside down, put it back in, and then you've got your bobbin on the other side. The other thing that's important, especially on the newer wheels, the ones with the JCB bolt through them, that does up with the 4mm Allen key, make sure the head is in place before you tighten it. And when you do tighten it, just be careful, don't go too hard, because it's a relatively shallow hole there, and you'll go right through if you're too tough. So just be gentle.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's again just making sure the drive belt's under tension to drive that big drive wheel. As we talked last time, you can shorten the drive belt, just cut some new fresh ends, and I use a cigarette lighter, but you can use a heat gun, you can use a candle or something that's going to melt the end.
Perhaps we can
push it together.
Include a demo into one of our future live streams. Actually,
we will. I'll do that. I'm happy to do that, because I'm the world's best on the cigarette lighter. Andrea's the best on the heat gun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Another thing to mention is the flyers. We static balance those, and we put in lead shot and plugs and things so that the flyer is very nicely balanced when you're spinning. But if you change your flyer hook to the opposite arm to the one that we have it in, which we always do it this side, right? So if I took that off and put it on that side, this will be unbalanced. This will now be extra heavy, and this will be extra light. So that what will happen is you could well get vibration, especially at speed. So if you're going to be changing them, you're probably better to get some extra flyer hooks and have them as a counterbalance, because it's balanced to be like that.
Actually, that's an interesting point for all the Majacraft wheels, because I don't know that everyone's aware that those flyers are all individually balanced before they leave the factory. So if you do make any change, and I know this because I have messed about with my aura with different things on it, and it's fine if you're spinning slower. You have to change it quite a bit to really feel it. But as soon as you get a bit of speed up, if you start to get that wobble in it, then it's probably because the flyer is actually not balanced at that point. So I have experienced that on my aura, which I don't usually use for spinning very fast because I don't put yarns on it, but you definitely would notice it. So, and it's quite good to know that they come pre-balanced, and what's causing that little wobble, especially if you weren't getting it before and then suddenly you start getting it if you change something on the flyer.
One of the other things that you can do is you can tilt the, I wish I could show you the picture. I wish I could show you the handles upright. If you like, you can undo the handle nut a little and you can tilt it to the side, either side. And if you're wanting to do long draw, or you're going to be using the stylus, it's very handy to be able to tilt that over like that. If you've only got the delta orifice, which is not going to be applicable to the rose, of course, but you can tilt it over for that too, so that you can just spin fairly straight out of the delta delta point.
Yeah, actually, we should come back to the stylus too sometime and include that in one of our live streams as well, because I think that is a very underused tool, and we don't make enough of it because it's actually super awesome, and it looks kind of lethal. I actually discovered, like, when I started going out and doing demonstration spinning in public, I would get little girls coming out watching and watching, going, how does it, where does it hurt? And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, sleeping beauty, the point thing that pricks you. Oh, finally, I'm out with the stylus, and there actually was something there, because it's just a really sharp pointed spike basically that comes off where you normally have the orifice, and it looks pretty lethal, but it's so wonderful to spin. It comes with these little baby bobbins, and you can do your long draw with this orifice. Actually, Owen is the one. He was really spinning really nice yarn on that one day. I saw at a show because he was demonstrating. I'm like, I'm not going to, because it kept breaking for me. You need to practice it a little bit. but it's so much fun and so addictive that it's easy to practice. I'm actually quite good at it now. Thank you, Owen. He's probably smiling away in the background because he was really good at it. I think he was even one hand spinning.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun,
like that.
And it is one of the because the rose also fits all the accessories that you guys have. And it's one of the ones that's really fun if you're looking. It's kind of like that thing, what do you get for the spinner that's got everything already? The stylus is just one of those neat things to have with the wheel.
Now, while you were saying it takes all the accessories, the rose, it does, but I have to say the high-speed head was designed, the high-speed head, not the high-speed wheel. The high-speed head was designed for the Susie, and it'll go on the rose, but it's so fast that it's heavy to treadle. So unless you've got weightlifter legs, it's pretty hard going. So
or you'd soon get weightlifter legs then.
Well, you just might.
Yeah. But then with the fast kit on the rose, that's pretty smooth anyway, and
it's
you get quite a
fast
bit of
enough for most people. Yes. You've got to be into it, that speed anyway.
Yeah. Well, I was interested because even Nita, she's in the chat. She spins a lot of lace on her aura with the fast kit on it, and she's like me. She doesn't put it onto the smallest wall on the pulley because we can't keep up with it. So I was quite pleased that even Nita said that, because I know she spins a lot of lace, and I thought, well, I'm not doing too bad then if she's the same as me.
Yeah. Well, it's so lovely to have all these people joining us, Susie. It's really nice, and the comments later to say they've been along, and it's good. So hopefully we're coming up with some things which are of use to people, and they can learn a little bit more, which make them more comfortable with their wheel.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, this time we're focusing on the rose, and our next live stream, which I think is next week, is the little gem. I know. We're really busy with these. I think we've got one planned every week for a few weeks yet. And when we finish with the broadcast, it's going to be recorded. It'll be up on the YouTube channel, on the Majacraft YouTube channel. So hopefully this will be a nice resource for anyone that might even be thinking about buying a wheel, or if you're having any issues, come along and see if we've discussed those in the live stream as well.
We'll be having a little break over Easter, Susie, because Easter, and it's also the Creative Fibre Festival down in Christchurch, and Owen and I and Andrea will be going down to that, and I think you're teaching down there.
I'll be there, I'll be teaching there.
So there's going to be fun and games down there. Hope you don't create an earthquake. And so it'll just be the busy bees up here and the others having fun in Christchurch.
Yeah, it will be fun. The festival's always really neat.
It is, yes.
Nice atmosphere there. Everyone's really focused, and it's just, shopping is fantastic. Yes. not that I need any more stash.
Well, we always think we need a little tickle up.
Yeah, and of course you guys will be there, and you'll be demonstrating all your stuff, and people can come along and try out the wheels. And that's often a really good idea, actually, if you're not sure which wheel you want, if you're tossing up between the rose and the Susie or the aura. Sometimes it just comes down to what it looks like and which one you like the look of the most. But I think people know, you sit at a wheel and suddenly you try a few and you find that one, and it's like the wheel, isn't it? It's really helpful to try them out. Well, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Any more questions from the chat? Let's have a quick look. I think Andrew's been in there answering questions as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, Chantal says here we all need more stash. It's so true. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to have too much stash. Although, yeah, my friend Arlene, she's been busily knitting because she has a huge stash, and she's got some really good stash busting projects. But you see, big stash busting projects, it all goes together. It's a nice little circular situation. So
perhaps we should mention that Chantel does a very nice, basically a hangout, a session most weeks, I think.
Yep.
Fiberific. I think she might have had one earlier on today, so something that people may enjoy having a look at.
Yeah, and I've watched some of her demo videos of bits and pieces as well too, and things she's got coming in the shop, and that's really tempting for the fibre stash enhancements as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, so next week we'll be back talking about the little gem, which is cool because I have mine sitting here, and I hopefully by then will have finished my project. I'm spinning some really, really, really fine lace. You'll be amazed, Glynis, on it.
Yes.
But I really enjoy it. I love my little gem. It does tend to go everywhere with me. And, you know, originally I was like, I've got my aura, which is the one wheel for me, and it is. It's my one wheel. But I also really love my little gem. It's my.
Well, you may get a very big treat next week because we haven't got any spare gems around here at the moment, but I do happen to have at home the absolute original first gem, and maybe that's all I'll have. That's all I'll have to be able to bring along to show you. So, and it's the one with the flower holes in the petals.
Oh, wow.
Trying to make it lighter.
That'll be a treat anyway. We need to see that.
Well,
I'm sure everyone's going to agree. We need to see that, the original little gem.
Yes.
That'll be neat. All right. And I will have mine all set to go. So
good.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you
for coming along, everyone. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.